The house had always been blue, a soft, faded shade of sky that matched the water it overlooked, calm, unassuming, and beautiful in its own quiet way. When Claire Weston first saw it, 27 years ago, she told her husband, "It feels like it's waiting for us." Now, standing at the same doorstep alone, she whispered the same words, but they tasted different. He wasn't here anymore. The lake shimmered in the late August sun, the light glancing off its surface like silver glass. The same porch swing creaked in the breeze. The same wind chimes sang softly from the eaves. Nothing had changed, except that everything had. Her husband, Tom Weston, had been gone for 6 months. A heart attack, sudden and cruel, in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday morning. He'd been fixing the fence. She'd been baking bread. Now the fence stood mended. The bread never got finished. Claire wasn't sure why she'd come back to the lake house. They had another home, the main one in the city, filled with years of life and laughter. But this was different. It was where they'd first fallen in love, where they spent every summer fishing, painting, reading, or just sitting in silence, where Tom used to whistle old country songs while patching the roof, and where she'd learned that happiness didn't always need to be loud. Maybe she came back because this house still felt like him. The key turned stiffly in the lock. Inside, the air smelled like cedar, lake water, and memory. Dust hung in the light streaming through the curtains. On the coffee table sat a photo frame, Tom's favorite picture of them, taken 10 years ago. Her head rested on his shoulder, his smile wide and boyish. Claire traced the glass with her fingertip. "Hi, love," she whispered. She spent the first few days cleaning, not because it needed it, but because it gave her something to do. She dusted shelves, aired out blankets, opened the windows, and let the wind carry out the silence. In the evenings, she sat by the water, sipping tea and watching the sun sink below the trees. But on the 4th day, while searching the attic for candles, she found something she didn't expect, an old wooden box, tucked beneath a pile of quilts. The lid was carved with their initials, C and T. Her heart tightened. Inside were envelopes, neatly tied with a thin blue ribbon. Each one was labeled in Tom's handwriting, firm, slanted, unmistakable. The top one read, "For Claire, to be opened when you're ready."
She didn't open it that night.
Or the next. It sat on the kitchen table, beside her mug of tea, watching her as she went about her day. Finally, on the 3rd evening, when the moon was full and her loneliness felt heavy enough to crack her ribs, she untied the ribbon and unfolded the first letter. "My dearest Claire, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. I'm sorry for that, I truly am. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that love doesn't stop when life does. It just changes where it lives. You've always been my home, Claire. And this house, this blue house by the lake, has been our heart. There are more letters. Each one has something I want to tell you. A memory, a secret, a piece of the story we never finished. Start with the one marked summer. I love you now and always.
Tom."
Her tears fell before she finished reading. She pressed the paper to her chest and whispered, "You always did have a way with words, you old fool." In the box, she found 5 more envelopes. Summer, autumn, winter,
Spring.
the last one. She started with summer. "Summer. Remember our first summer here? You slipped on the dock and cursed so loud the ducks flew away. You laughed so hard afterward you cried. That's when I knew. You were my whole life. There's something else about that summer I never told you. I bought this house before I proposed. Everyone said I was crazy, but I wanted to build our story somewhere that already felt like us. Look under the porch swing. You'll find a little carving, something I left there that day." Heart pounding, Claire stepped outside. The porch was cool beneath her bare feet, the boards creaking softly. She knelt by the swing, running her fingers under the wood, and there it was, a small heart, carved into the beam, with the initials C+T = always. She let out a broken laugh. "You sentimental idiot," she whispered, smiling through tears. "Autumn. You always said autumn made you feel alive. The colors, the air, the way the lake turned silver at sunset. That's why I planted the maple tree by the gate. You thought it was random, but I wanted something that would still bloom long after we were gone. Take a leaf from it, Claire. Press it in your book. It'll hold the color of our years. The next morning, she went to the gate. The maple tree stood tall and proud, its leaves already tinged with gold. She plucked one, soft, red, and perfect, and tucked it into her notebook. Winter. I know you hate the cold, so I built that fireplace for you myself. Every nail, every brick. It was my way of keeping you warm when I wasn't near. Check behind the third brick from the bottom, right side. There's something hidden there. She did as he said. Behind the brick, wrapped in a piece of cloth, was a small silver locket. Inside was a picture, their wedding day, and on the back, engraved words, "Forever isn't long enough." Her sobs echoed through the empty room.
Spring.
If life gives you another spring without me, promise me you'll plant the lilies again. You always said they looked like hope. Hope is what I want you to have, Claire. Because love doesn't die. It just changes gardens. That night, she placed the letter in her lap and stared out the window at the lake. The reflection of the moon shimmered like a heartbeat on the water. She whispered, "I'll plant them tomorrow, Tom. I promise." Only one envelope remained. The last one. Her hands trembled as she opened it. The last one. My Claire, by the time you reach this letter, you'll have cried, smiled, and remembered more than I could ever hope for. But there's one last thing. Go down to the dock, our dock at sunrise. Bring the locket. You'll understand then.